On Morsels of a Thought, 1933, we've got How to Feed a Brain, Nutrition for Optimal Brain Function and Repair by Cavin Balaster. I forgot to say his name once before. Cavin Balaster wrote this book. There was a foreword by Dr. Datis Karazian with lots of titles in his name. And a comment by Dr. David Perlmutter, MD, FACN. Cavin Balaster is the author of How to Feed a Brain, Nutrition for Optimal Brain Function and Repair, and we're on page 82. How to Feed a Brain. This is chapter 9, the ends, nutrients for synaptogenesis. The ends. Okay, gastric feeding. Gastric feed information. For gastric feeding, in addition to supplying uridine-rich foods such as organ meats, broccoli, and beets, we can also add powder or capsules of uridine monophosphate to gastric feeds. According to the FDA, the upper limit is as high as 10 grams. Go to feedabrain.com/synapto for these supplements. It is advised that you work with your qualified health practitioner for specific amounts. Now, feed a brain smoothies. The author says, because I feel like my brain is jump started the morning after eating or drinking a meal that contains each of the three categories of produce, leafy greens, sulfur, and brightly colored, as well as the three nutrients for synaptogenesis, I like to drink what I call a feed a brain smoothie later in the day, lunch or dinner. Because mechanisms of neuroplasticity, the ability to change, seem to occur at a greater extent than when we are sleeping, I like to supply the building blocks for that plasticity and eat extra produce for lunch or dinner. This also helps to keep my blood sugar stable. I also like to regularly switch up the kinds of produce that I use so that my microbiome is getting a variety of different foods, which we talked about in the Keep Switching It Up section of the book. This handout will help you create feed a brain smoothies to support brain health while switching ingredients to keep it interesting for you, your microbiome, and your health. Now, portions of this handout are adapted from the Walls Protocol by Terry Walls and Eve Adamson, copyright 2014 by Dr. Terry Walls, LLC, used by permission of Avery, an imprint of Penguin Publishing Corporation Group, a division of Penguin the Random House, LLC. Okay, now in this chart, how will I be eating? Hmm. Most of the times when I eat, I like to get all three categories. He says, I like to get all three categories of produce in roughly equal amounts. Now, Cavino says this can be done all in one meal or with a combination of a meal or soup with a whole food smoothie. This is an example of a combination that supplies all of the necessary nutrients. The refreshing smoothie recipe comes from Dr. Terry Walls's new cookbook, Wall's Protocol Cooking for Life, and the soup recipe is courtesy of V, paleobosslady.com. Okay. The Feed a Brain Smoothie Creation Guide has different directions and different groups of nutrients and foods in this order. Directions: add your choice of the following ingredients to the pitcher of a high-powered blender. Okay, a handful of leafy greens, 1 tablespoon of fat, 1 handful of brightly colored, 1 cup of liquid base, nutrients for synaptogenesis, optimal superfoods, optional sulfur-rich veggies, and directions are to add ice cubes and blend in a high-powered blender. Adjust liquid and ice as needed to achieve desired consistency. Go to feedabrain.com/tools. Also, sulfur-rich contain 15 grams or more of natural sugar per cup. Whole food, whole fruit only include if well tolerated. And there's a whole lot of this. And in each category, there's a lot of items. In the handful of leafy greens, he's got from everything from arugula down to wheatgrass, and there are about 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 names of vegetables like arugula, mint, chicory, collard greens, kale, romaine lettuce, and spinach, wheatgrass. Then in that that's not all of them. I just read a few. And then in the 1 tablespoon of fat, you can have either avocado, coconut oil, coconut cream, egg yolks, ghee, MCT oil, or omega-3s. That would be interesting. Egg yolks, egg yolks, egg yolks. Only include if well tolerated. And then in the 1 handful of brightly colored, he's got everything from acai berries down to watermelon. I don't know if they're acai or acai, ACAI. So he's got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 different brightly colored fruits like blackberries, grapes, grapefruit, cantaloupe, pineapple, oranges, strawberries, tangerines, watermelon, honeydew melon, muskmelon, mango, lime, 40 items. And then in the cup liquid of 1 cup of liquid base, he's got coconut water or coconut kefir, bone broth or nut seed or nut milk or seed milk, or coffee or tea. Ooh, you can even use coffee or tea in your smoothie. Synaptogenesis. Nutrients for synaptogenesis are choline powder, uridine powder, high DHA omega-3s. Go to feedabrain.com/synapto. And then for the optional superfoods, he's got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 items there. Everything from bee pollen down to turmeric, camu powder, coconut chips, mushroom powder, spirulina. Wow. Okay. And then he's got optional sulfur-rich veggies, which go from asparagus down to leeks. We've got broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, fennel, parsnips, leeks. You choose something from there. And then, did I go through that one? Yes, I did. Did I go through that one? Yes, I did. I think I went through all of them, right? I think I did. I did. I feel like I did, but it doesn't feel like I did. Oh well. Anyway, this is the chart, and you find it on feedabrain.com. All right. So that's the day today, and we will go into other items tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but the next week. He's got recipes, and yeah, he's got recipes. So, and he's got superfoods in chapter 10. So we're gonna finish up chapter 9 next week, and I think I'll just tell you the names of the recipes right now. Uh, Terry's green ginger smoothie, V's cabbage stew, meatballs. So I know ingredients in a big blender. These and other recipes can be found at feedabrain.com/recipes. Enjoy. Okay, so why don't you go there, have a look at these two items. It's got a lot of items in it. It's probably better you look it up than that I read the items because you'd have to pause the tape, copy it down, blah, 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 blah. Just go to feedabrain.com/recipes. Gotcha. Okay. Old Kinderhook. Some people ask why? Why do you say old Kinderhook? Because I want to end with okay. And okay comes from a man named James Monroe. He was the 8th president of the United States, and he came from Kinderhook, New York, and they called him Old Kinderhook. And Old Kinderhook always wanted to make sure things went right. So if you didn't do, and that you finished things right. So I want to say okay because I want to say Old Kinderhook. Old Kinderhook.